Time for another category. And in this case, we look at apparel or fashion ERP systems, the leading ones in 2026. So let's dive right in.
Growing a business requires a holistic approach that extends beyond sales and marketing. This approach needs alignment among people, processes, and technologies. So if you're a business owner, operations, or finance leader looking to learn growth strategies from your peers and competitors, you're tuned into the right podcast. Welcome to the WBS Podcast, where scalable growth using business systems is our number one priority. Now, here is your host, Sam Gupta.
Hello, everyone. My name is Sam Gupta. I am principal at Elevate IQ. Elevate IQ is the independent, vendor-agnostic technology advisory firm. We help our customers with technology strategy, system selection, and change management. On that note, let's go back to today's topic, which is the top apparel manufacturing ERP systems in 2026. Just to give you some sense of how we define apparel manufacturing ERP category. For the most part, we are looking at all of different manufacturers that are part of apparel manufacturing ecosystem, all of different business models, different sizes of companies. So it is not specific to a specific market segment, at least from the size perspective. So again, if you want to know which particular system is going to be relevant for your unique requirements, then you probably need to pay close attention to my commentary as I discussed each of the system, because they are designed for a very specific market segment for very specific needs, and each size of the customer is going to have very different needs as well. Now, even inside apparel manufacturing, space, things could be very nuanced. It could get very complex. For example, let's say if you compare this with some apparel companies that are going to be primarily custom shop, they are going to have very different processes than anybody who's doing something like uniforms. They are not going to have the same challenges as your fashion manufacturers, just because the kind of SKU numbers and the organization of SKUs they are going to have, it's just very different. Each of the market verticals inside apparel manufacturing, is very different. Whether you are looking at formal, casual, sports, all of those different market verticals are very different. So again, pay close attention to my commentary as I discussed each of the systems. The criteria that we have used to compile this list is product share, acquisition strategy, focused on the apparel category, product roadmap, community, ecosystem, win rate, technology strategies, investors, and now we are looking at some of the AI capabilities as well. They are as relevant from the this category perspective. So now let's look at the list. Number 10 on our list is FDM4. And for the most part, if you look at the FDM4 product, it is not necessarily the manufacturing product. For the most part, that will be relevant for the fashion distributors. But for the most part, it is going to have very unique processes that any of these style fashion businesses require. And generally, you are going to have all of those designers, merchandisers, buyers, as well as the people who are doing analytics. All of those are going to be part of the process. You have some very unique process such as your sampling, etc. Even among distributors, that is going to be very common. So what FDM4 does, that you are not going to find with many other ERP systems that we have on this list, the kind of integration that you are going to require. For example, let's say you have Adobe Illustrator, and for those designers, those workflows are going to be very relevant because they care for that integration, the way they are trying to create their design. They don't want to manually input their designs inside the ERP system. So FDM4 is going to have all of those processes integrated right from the tools that your designers and merchandisers are going to use. And that's a huge benefit and something that you are not going to find with many other ERP systems on that list. The limitation that you are going to run into with FDM4 is it's going to be very operational product. The ERP-centric capabilities might be leaner, limited. So that's going to be a little challenge. So that's number 10. Number 9 on our list is Odoo. And Odoo is a great product, especially for the smaller companies that might be outgrowing QuickBooks and they don't want to get any bulky ERP products because the lift could be higher in general when you are moving from your QuickBooks spreadsheet manual processes to ERP like processes, because that is going to require coding every single data set, and sometimes the data set as lean as your customer master could be a very heavy lift for the organizations. The way you operate, you want some sort of fluidity, agility, and generally ERP is going to have slightly more rigid structure because they are trying to enforce control. And a lot of smaller businesses don't necessarily want that, especially in verticals such as your apparel, where they are not going to have the real benefit from the costing perspective. They don't care for costing as much as they care for the speed of transactions, and the speed is going to be far more relevant in this particular space. That's why the ERP centric processes are not necessarily as relevant for apparel centric verticals, just because they are more retail centric business model, retail centric processes. So that's where Odoo provide the right mix for those processes, and Odoo is a great fit for those apparel centric spaces, and that's number 9. Number 8 on our list is Microsoft Dynamics 365 Business Central. And Business Central is a great product from the apparel perspective. The kind of SKU model, the inventory model it has, it can support all of those complex layers, especially if you are going to have those, size, color, as well as season. All of those layers need to be part of your planning process. The whole matrix inventory, the attribute inventory that you have, some of the ERP systems might not even support that. And even if they support, that is probably going to be just from the analytics perspective. Those attributes may not be part of the planning. They might not be part of the BOM creation, the way you are going to create your BOMs and parts. So that's where Microsoft Dynamics 365 Business Central is slightly unique. The other unique aspect that you are going to find from the Business Central perspective is in their ecosystem, you are going to find many different players that have developed very custom processes for apparel centric manufacturers and distributors. But as you work with these vendors, sometimes the challenge that you are going to run into is not every product that you are going to find or add-ons that you are going to find in the Microsoft Dynamics Business Central ecosystem, it's not going to be as well coded, as well supported. So you need to do a lot more due diligence in general. Anytime you are procuring inside Microsoft ecosystem, Microsoft also takes a very hands-off approach the way they sell their ERP. So you are going to be completely dependent upon your value-added reseller or independent software vendor. And if the support of the product is going to be good or the product documentation is going to be good, great. If not, then you are sort of stuck with them because their IP is going to be far more relevant than what you are going to get as part of the core product. So those are going to be some of the challenges, but Business Central is a great product for apparel manufacturer, and that's number 8. Number 7 on our list is Acumatica. And Acumatica is a great product for apparel manufacturers as well, even though Acumatica tends to be slightly more discrete product, even though they have support for the attribute and the complex inventory as well. But for the most part, Acumatica might not be as well deployed among the apparel manufacturers as well as retailers, even though they have some of the most common integrations. For example, with Shopify, BigCommerce, all of those are available through Acumatica's ecosystem. And they have the branch structure. That branch structure is going to be very handy for retail-centric spaces. And 90% of the apparel manufacturers, they are going to be retailers as well. So that's why Acumatica does really well in those spaces. And that's number 7. Number 6 on our list is Microsoft Dynamics 365 Finance and Operations. And Microsoft Dynamics 365 Finance and Operations is a much bigger product compared to, for example, let's say if you look at Acumatica or any other smaller products that we have reviewed so far, Odoo, those are very small products. Microsoft Dynamics 365 F&O is designed for very global upper mid-market centric organizations where you are trying to combine many different geographies geographies, localizations as part of the same model. For apparel centric manufacturers, that might be a heavier lift just because they care more for speed than consolidating, integrating their processes globally. For the most part, their needs from the consolidation perspective is probably going to be just the finance and procurement. So they don't have the same need as you are going to find with some of the discrete centric manufacturers. But Microsoft Dynamics 365 Finance and Operations is a great product when you are trying to combine all of those entities as part of the same model, and then you're looking for an ecosystem that can augment the operational capabilities that you are going to require from the apparel perspective. In those use cases, Microsoft Dynamics 365 FNO could be a great fit, and that's number 6. Number 5 on our list is SAP S/4HANA. SAP S/4HANA is an amazing product as well, but only for very large enterprises. For the operational capabilities, you are probably going to rely on some of the vendor capabilities, vendor IP add-on ISVs. You are relying on all of those for the apparel-centric, capabilities. The way the bill of materials are designed from the SAP S/4HANA perspective, it's a very discrete centric product, even though it does have support for the attribute centric inventory. So it's okay. SAP S/4HANA does support for that. But for the most part, you will require a lot of add-ons in general for you to be able to work with SAP S/4HANA in the apparel segment. A lot of apparel companies that might be using SAP S/4HANA, for the most part, they use them for just the general ledger. They might have a little bit of sub-ledger, maybe from the procurement perspective, but for the most part, it's not as tailored for the apparel manufacturers, etc. So that's going to be number 5. Number 4 on our list is Oracle Cloud ERP. Oracle Cloud ERP, you are probably going to get very similar experience as SAP S/4HANA. It's designed for slightly larger organizations, global organizations, when they are trying to consolidate, harmonize, unify many different business models across many different geographies. In those use cases, Oracle Cloud ERP is going to be a great fit. But for the most part, when you look at the tailored last mile operational capabilities, from the Oracle Cloud ERP perspective, then you are looking at vendor provided VAR centric functionality. And for a small to medium size manufacturers, it could be very expensive, bloated, sometimes. So that is number 4. Number 3 on our list is Apchain Apparel ERP. And Apchain, the way they approach the market, they have acquired several different apparel ERP products, and now they are trying to create the suite out of WMS, TMS, apparel, and they sell that as the integrated suite. Now, the challenge with this particular approach is that it's a very prescriptive approach. So if you can afford to replace anything and everything, that includes your PLM, etc., generally they like to position their own PLM for these manufacturers. And if you don't do that, then you need to integrate, and the integration documentation that you are going to have from the product perspective might not be as well done. The support might be a challenge as well. That's what we hear, from the customers, from the Apchain's perspective. But Apchain is a great product for the apparel segment. So that's number 3. Number 2 on our list is NetSuite. NetSuite does really well in the apparel-centric spaces. And the reason why they have done really well is because NetSuite was a leaner product in general from the capabilities perspective. They like to focus more on the general ledger. The sub-ledger functionality is primarily provided by many different vendors and as well as the partners. Now, the beauty of that approach is that 90% of the apparel manufacturers, at least in our experience, what we have seen is they don't like to replace everything. They like to use their own PLM. They like to retain their own tool set. So sometimes that approach works well only with the vendors that are slightly fluid, flexible in their approach. And NetSuite is definitely that system. Oracle is that vendor that care for that flexibility, fluidity. In those use cases, NetSuite could be a great fit. Again, primarily because of the ecosystem adoption, and that's why it is very successful among apparel manufacturers, and that's number 2. Number one on our list is Infor Cloud Suite M3. And Infor Cloud Suite M3 is slightly bigger product overall, the way their processes are designed, organized. So it's going to be slightly more relevant for the mid-market, upper mid-market companies when they are going to require multiple layers in how their sites and entities are structured, the way their planning works. Some of the smaller ERP systems might not be able to support as many layers from the organizational structure perspective. And the reason why these layers matter is when you are going to require the specific traceability across your site, the way you might be planning, depending upon whether you are using the scheduler, the planner, whether you are as mature with your planning processes. Some manufacturers are, some are not. So once you get there, then these capabilities are going to be far more relevant. But if you are simply very serial in your processes where you're simply trying to process your transactions, in those use cases, these systems might not provide as much benefit. But if you are mature in your processes and you are trying to advance and you are trying to outgrow some of those smaller systems, in those use cases, Infor Cloud Suite M3 could be a great fit. Now, the challenge that you are going to run into with Infor Cloud Suite M3, it's going to take very similar approach as AppGene, where you are looking at the complete suite. It's a very prescriptive product, so sometimes picking and choosing might not be as friendly as what you are going to find with tools such as your NetSuite. But again, Infor Cloud Suite M3 is a great product for the mid-market, upper mid-market companies when they are trying to be sophisticated with their planning. You have compliance requirements, for all of those. Infor Cloud Suite M3 is going to be a great fit, and that's number one. If you enjoyed this video, we publish these videos on a weekly basis. So like and subscribe on YouTube. This podcast is also available in the audio form on major podcasting platform. So you might want to check that. We are also going to include a detailed report, which is going to have much deeper analysis. We are going to link that with this video. And if you want to know about more rankings that we publish, this is all included as part of our digital transformation report that we publish annually. So we are going to link that as well. On that note, thank you so much for tuning in. I'll see you in the next episode.
Thank you for listening to another episode of the WBS podcast. Be sure to subscribe on your favorite podcasting platform so you never miss an episode. For more information on growth strategies for SMBs using ERP and digital transformation, check out our community at WBS.rocks. We'll see you next time.